Good morning, children. So, in the last lecture, we have got the concept of cohesive adhesive force and the intermolecular force. Now, we should know about the cause of surface tension or explanation of surface tension on the basis of the concept of intermolecular forces. Alright. So, suppose you have taken certain amount of liquid in a container. Now, if you consider the molecules of a substance, then when the distance between the molecules of a substance is equal to or less than 10 to the power minus 9 meter, then only what will happen? They can attract each other. If the distance is more than that, then they cannot attract each other. So you see, if you consider a molecule here, okay, it is quite, this is the free surface and you have taken the molecule quite inside the liquid. Then you see, if you just assume a sphere of radius 10 to the power minus 9 meter, then you see what is happening. At every point of the sphere there is molecule. So they are attracting this molecule at the center of this sphere in all direction. Alright, they are acting in all direction. So you see, what is the resultant intermolecular force acting on the molecule at the center of this sphere drawn? That will be 0. Alright, so this is known as sphere of molecular activity. What is the sphere of molecular activity? A sphere whose radius is 10 to the power minus 9 meter. That is known as the sphere of molecular activity. So if you consider any molecule sufficiently inside the liquid, then you see you can complete the sphere of molecular activity, and what will happen? The total intermolecular force acting on the liquid molecule is 0. Alright, now suppose you have taken the liquid molecule here so that you cannot complete the molecule of sphere of molecular activity. Then you see what is happening in this one. There will be a net force acting in the downward direction. Alright, like that, if you consider a molecule on the free surface of the liquid. So what does it mean? If you take a liquid molecule near to the surface where you are unable to complete the sphere of molecular activity, that liquid molecule will experience a downward intermolecular force. Okay, the intermolecular force will act in the downward direction. On which molecule? The molecule which are very near to the free surface and for which you are unable to complete the sphere of molecular activity. Now, if you consider a molecule on the free surface of the liquid, then you see what is happening. You can draw only the half of the sphere of molecular activity. So what is the resultant force of all this one? It is acting vertically down. Is that clear? So you see what is happening, what is the meaning of this? If you apply the concept of the intermolecular forces, then all the molecules present on the free surface, they are experiencing a vertically downward force. Alright, so you see what should happen then, as it is experiencing a vertically downward force, so it will try to come down. All the free surface molecules, they will just try to come down. So as a result, what will happen? Suppose you have taken a glass of water, alright, to this height, then all the molecules, they are experiencing the force coming down. So you see water level is coming down, coming down, coming down, ultimately will vanish. So it will be magic. Isn't it? Means you have taken a glass of water, after some time you will see that it is coming down. Yes or not? But it is not happening. Have you ever seen that it is have you ever observed it that you have taken one glass of water and after some time, due to this intermolecular force, water vanished. It has coming down, coming down, coming down, then just touching the lower surface of the glass. Never it happened. Why? Because you see the liquid molecule, they are doing some work spending some energy to maintain the position of the molecules on the free surface. Alright, so you see here the molecules, the energy the liquid is spending to possess, to just keep the liquid molecule on the free surface as it is, what will be the type of energy spent? It is associated with the position of the molecule on the free surface. So what is the name you can give to that energy? Potential energy, isn't it? So you see, more the number of molecule the liquid is accommodating on the free surface, more amount of potential energy it has to spend to just maintain the position of the liquid molecule on the free surface. But you know that this is the tendency of nature, that nature always try to possess minimum potential energy, and that is the reason that whenever you are standing for a long time, you get tired, then you want to sit down. So when you are sitting down, you are lowering potential energy, and when you lie down completely on the bed, you are having the minimum potential energy. Alright, so that's why you see, always it is the tendency of nature to possess minimum potential energy. Alright, so a liquid can possess minimum potential energy only when it will accommodate less number of molecule on the free surface, means it will have minimum area of the free surface. Alright, so you see that is nothing but the surface tension, because free surface of a liquid always try to possess minimum area. Why the free surface of the liquid always try to possess minimum area? Because only then it has to accommodate less number of molecules on the free surface, and accommodating less number of molecules means it has to spend less amount of potential energy to maintain their position, opposing the net downward intermolecular force. Okay, so this is the nice explanation or cause of surface tension. I hope you have enjoyed it. Next is coming the concept of shape of liquid meniscus. Alright, liquid meniscus means what? The shape of the free surface of a liquid when it is, because you know that liquid you cannot just take it without any container, without any tube, isn't it? So you have to take the liquid in certain container. So suppose you have taken water in a glass tube. You know that water in a glass tube, always the upper surface, it takes the concave shape, isn't it? But if you take mercury in glass, you will see that mercury, it takes the shape convex upward. Here it is concave upward, and in case of mercury it is convex upward. Why it is so? Nothing but due to the relative magnitude of the adhesive and cohesive forces in these two cases. Alright, so one by one I am discussing it. Suppose you have taken certain amount of water in a glass. Alright, now this is the wall of the glass tube. You have taken container, I have not completed, means it is continuing here. Okay, because we have to consider only the upper surface. Now if you consider the molecule which is touching the glass surface, alright, now it will experience two forces. What are the two forces? Adhesive force, another is cohesive force. Adhesive force means the glass molecule attracting water molecule towards it. So adhesive force is this. And we know that adhesive force between the water and glass molecule is bigger than the cohesive force. Okay. Now, if you consider this molecule, then you see for this one, I can complete only 1/4 of the molecular activity, sphere of molecular activity. So, in which direction cohesive force will act? It will be just exactly midpoint. Alright, means it should make an angle 45 degree with the free surface. So this is the cohesive force, the arrow indicates the cohesive force and length indicates the magnitude. So in this case, you see this arrow for adhesive force I have drawn bigger. Why? Because adhesive force is bigger than the cohesive force. So if you consider the molecule here, you see if I complete the parallelogram, then according to our concept of vector diagram, the resultant force, it is acting, this is adhesive and this is cohesive force. Resultant force is acting in this direction, alright. So what the molecule will do? Molecule will set itself perpendicular to the force, or you can say the surface of water, it will set itself perpendicular, you see, perpendicular to R. Why? Because we know that a force has no effect perpendicular to it. So when the surface of the molecule will be like this, then what will happen? It has no effect. So exactly like that, if you consider a molecule here, this is the adhesive force, this is the cohesive force. So what is happening? The resultant, it is acting along the diagonal drawn for this parallelogram. So how the surface will set itself perpendicular to the resultant. So you see at the two corners, the surface of water is like this. Okay, it is down. Now, what about the middle portion? In the middle portion, the liquid is not in touch with the glass molecule. Yes or not? Is it touching the glass molecule? Just imagine the free surface. If you consider a circle, then the circle, along the circle, the water molecule touching the glass. But what about in the middle portion? Middle portion, these molecules, these are the water molecules, they are not in contact with the glass. So for them, what is happening? They will maintain their same line. Isn't it? Same shape. So you see what is the resultant? This is the free surface of the liquid. How it is looking? It is concave upward. So this is the reason that why the meniscus of water in glass is concave upward. Alright, so if the question come in exam, how to handle it? Draw this diagram clearly and write down here point-wise that adhesive force. I am writing in short because you know the teacher can write in short but students are not allowed to write. So whatever I am writing in short, you must write in full sentence. Here adhesive force is greater than cohesive force. So resultant is acting as shown in the diagram. Alright, and then you will write that surface at the point, suppose this is the point P. So at the point P, water surface will set itself perpendicular to R. Alright, so perpendicular to R, it is setting as a result. And what you can write in the middle portion where the water molecules are not touching the glass surface, their free surface will remain as it is. I have not written, okay, but I am saying it verbally. It is your duty to write down that what will be the next point. The water molecule, those who are not touching the glass molecule, that region, it will maintain its own free surface. So as a result, the meniscus of water in glass, it will take the shape concave upward. Alright, that is when you are taking water in glass. Next is if you take mercury in glass, then what will happen? So if you take mercury in glass, this is mercury and this is glass. You know that if you consider the mercury molecule here, adhesive force is less, cohesive force is bigger. So you see, if you complete the parallelogram according to the vector law and draw the resultant, so this is the direction on which resultant force is acting. So what the molecule will do, what the free surface will do, free surface will set itself perpendicular to R. So you see at this point the surface is perpendicular to R. Similarly at this point also the free surface will set itself perpendicular to R. But what about in between, in this region, the mercury molecule are not touching the glass molecule, so it will remain in their own position. So you see what is the nature of the or shape of the meniscus of mercury taken in a glass tube. It is convex upward. So just like the previous case, in this case also, what should be the first point written? Adhesive force is less than cohesive force. Second point, so the resultant is acting as shown in the diagram. Third point, as is perpendicular to the direction of force, the force has no effect. The free surface at this point, let us name it as point P, will set itself perpendicular to R. Exactly, the free surface at the point Q also set itself perpendicular to R, whereas in between the mercury molecule, as they are not touching the glass molecule, so they are not experiencing any adhesive force, so they will maintain their own shape. As a result, the liquid meniscus will take the shape convex upward. Alright, so this is the reason for the shape of liquid meniscus, that is water in glass tube and mercury in glass tube. In both the cases, while answering, the diagram is very important, so you must practice these two diagrams. Now the next concept is angle of contact. What is angle of contact? Angle inside the liquid between the tangent drawn to the solid surface and the tangent drawn to the liquid surface at the point of contact. Okay, so understand it. Suppose you have taken certain amount of water, alright, and what you have done, you have just dipped into it in a glass tube. This is a glass tube. Alright, this is a glass tube. You have dipped into water. So you know that what will be the meniscus? The meniscus is like this. Alright. At the point of contact, it is concave downward. Then it will be plane, again concave downward. And here if you consider again concave downward, plane. And again when it is coming near the glass, it is concave upward. This is the shape of the liquid meniscus. Alright. Now what is angle of contact? Understand it. It is the angle inside the liquid. This is the point you have to understand. Inside the liquid it should be. Alright. So which one is the point of contact? This is the point of contact. Angle between tangent drawn to the solid. So this is the tangent I can draw to the solid surface, and the tangent drawn to the liquid surface. So this is the tangent drawn to the liquid surface at the point of contact. So this angle is the angle of contact. Alright. So you see, for water glass pair, angle of contact is acute. Clear? Now, if you take mercury in a container, suppose you have taken mercury in a container and you have dipped a glass tube within it. You have dipped a glass tube within it. Alright. Now, you know that the point the mercury is touching the glass, it is convex upward. So, you see convex upward. Then again it will be plane because molecule is not in contact with glass. Again near it, convex upward. So, here again convex upward, then plane, again convex upward. This is the shape of liquid meniscus. So, according to the definition of angle of contact, at the point of contact, you draw a tangent to the solid surface, you draw a tangent to the liquid surface. So, you see this is the point of contact, you have drawn tangent to the solid surface, you have drawn tangent to the liquid surface at the point of contact, then the angle between these two tangents is the angle of contact. Alright, So you have to, so what you are observing, that angle of contact for mercury glass pair is obtuse. Very important concept in physics. You should remember it lifelong. That the for mercury glass pair, angle of contact is obtuse, whereas for water glass pair, angle of contact is acute. This is glass and this is glass. So the definition of angle of contact and these two diagram very important for your exam. So you must learn, practice and remember it. The concept of angle of contact. So regarding the angle of contact, you have to remember three facts. The liquid which weight glass, just like water. Water can weight glass. For these liquids, angle of contact is acute. Alright. So in opposite way, you can say if the angle of contact for a liquid and solid is acute, then that particular liquid can weight the solid. Alright. Next point. When the liquid cannot weight the solid. Just consider this example. Mercury cannot weight glass. In that case, angle of contact between the liquid and the solid is obtuse. So, in opposite way, what you can say? When the angle of contact between a liquid and solid is obtuse, the liquid cannot weight the solid. Is that clear? Another one is that if you consider the angle of contact, just consider glass and silver. If you take glass and silver, then the upper surface of the liquid, it is plain. So you see, what if you consider, if you just dip glass in silver, then upper surface of the meniscus or shape of the meniscus is a plane, is a horizontal line. It means what? What is the angle of contact? Angle of contact is 90 degree. So for the liquid whose meniscus is plane surface, neither concave or convex, for them angle of contact is 90 degree. Okay, so these are the basic concept related with angle of contact. Next is surface energy of a liquid. So already while discussing what is the cause of the surface tension, we have seen that if the liquid accommodate any molecule on the free surface, due to that vertical downward force, the liquid has to do certain amount of work to maintain its position on the free surface. Alright, it means what? More number of molecule the liquid is having on the free surface, more is the area of the free surface, then the energy of the molecules or energy of the surface will be more. It means what? If we consider any molecule or if we consider molecules on the free surface of the liquid, they possess an additional extra energy due to the position. So, this additional energy per unit area of a liquid is known as surface energy of the liquid. Now, there is a nice relation between surface tension and surface energy of a liquid. So, for that, let us consider this one, that we have taken this kind of U-shaped, you have taken a string and you have given them the U-shape. Alright? And there is another string here, this horizontal string, it is movable. Alright? Now what you have done, that you have dipped this into a soap solution. Alright, then what will happen? You know that a thin film of soap solution will be created within this region. Means in this region, what you will get? A thin film of soap solution. Is that clear? Now, if you consider that this length is L, then you see on both sides of this length there is free surface area, isn't it? Just to imagine, suppose my hand is that rectangular string you have taken, out of which these three sides are fixed, and the upper side you can slide it up or down. It is movable. Now, if you consider the film created here, you see here is air, so one free surface, and if you consider the backside also exposed to air. So how many free surfaces it is having? 2 free surfaces. Is that clear? This is the point you have to understand. How many free surfaces? For this film of soap solution, 2 free surfaces. So, if you consider that surface tension Bt, then you know surface tension, it is acting tangential to the free surface. So, what is the total force acting on the free surface? It is surface tension multiplied by total length. Yes or not? Why? Because surface tension is the force per unit length. So, force per unit length multiplied by the total length will give you the total force acting on the free surface. Alright. So, you see, suppose you want to take this movable string in the upward direction by a very small amount delta x. Means you want to take the movable string here. You want to displace it by an amount delta x. Then what you have to do? You have to apply a force equal to T into 2L in the upward direction. Because this force I have written T into 2L, this is actually acting in the downward direction. And you want to take it in the upward direction. So what to do? You have to apply the force F in the upward direction. So you see, what is the work done in doing so? Work done will be force into displacement. So you can write it as T into 2L into delta x. Is that clear? Now, what is 2L into delta x? You see, this is L, this is delta x, means this is the area, isn't it? So you can write it as T into increase in area. What you can write? What is the work done? Work done is equal to T into increase in free surface area. So what is delta A? Delta A is 2L into delta x. It means this is the increase in area of free surface. So you have increased the free surface by an amount delta A. So you see, what is the work done per unit area? Work done per unit area or additional energy, because you know where from the molecules on the upper surface getting the additional energy, because the liquid is doing certain amount of work to maintain its position on the free surface, isn't it? So this work done per unit area is nothing but surface energy of the liquid. This is nothing but surface energy of the liquid, and from this relation what you are getting, W by delta A is equal to T, means equal to surface tension. Alright, so what is the important conclusion we have got? That surface energy of a liquid is equal to, numerically equal to surface tension. Alright, because remember that surface energy of a liquid is the additional energy per unit area. Whereas, what is the surface tension? It is the tangential force acting per unit length. Okay, but numerically their values are equal. What is the unit of surface energy of a liquid? It will be joule per meter square. Whereas what is the unit of surface tension? That is Newton per meter. So this is the relation between surface energy of a liquid and surface tension, and this point is very important because this concept later on we will use for soap bubble, air bubble and all. You must remember that work done in increasing the free surface of a liquid is equal to surface tension into increase in area. And from that we are getting the relation that surface energy of a liquid is numerically equal to the surface tension.